next week's episode for me. In fact, I think that's what we'll do. And after we finish up with the AFC West, we'll talk about some baseball things and go around the horn a little bit and talk about some of the big things going on in baseball. But Kansas City, obviously, I think is going to be the expected winner in this division. I still think that they're going to be the front runner in this division. They do have one of the toughest strengths of schedule, though, in football. And week 4, they're at Tampa Bay on Sunday Night Football. Then week 6, they play Buffalo. But right now, the biggest takeaways is that they cannot afford the Chiefs a slow start. They went 3-4 through their first 7 games last year of 2021, and 6 of its first 8 games this season are against teams that made the playoffs last year. So do the math. Now, the revamped defense is definitely going to be challenged very early on. The Chiefs are going to face in the first half of the season Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Derek Carr, and Josh Allen, all in consecutive weeks. And then they have a very intense holiday season because there are 4 games around Thanksgiving that are going to influence the Chiefs' playoff chances. They get the Chargers on November 20th, the Rams on November 27th, the Bengals on December 4th, and the Broncos that next week. So the Chiefs, honestly, I can see the Chiefs not making the playoffs this year just because of how tough that their division is and how tough their schedule is this year. But moving on now to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders have a week 6 bye, so a very early bye week, which is pretty interesting, honestly. But the biggest thing for the Raiders is that they have to come ready to play because their first 5 weeks are very treacherous, almost as treacherous as Kansas City. But because they don't play Kansas City, they don't play themselves, it's a little bit tougher, I think, for the Raiders. Now, the Raiders definitely have to come to play because their first 5 weeks are against the Chargers, Cardinals, Titans, Broncos, and Chiefs, with 3 of those games on the road. Now, Vegas does have a bye in week 6, and they're going to be very happy for it. But the Rams won the Super Bowl, but there are still plenty of locals in LA who would rather root for the Raiders, and they're going to make their voices heard in week 14 against the Los Angeles Rams. And they also get the Patriots games round 2 because the last time Josh McDaniels was a head coach, his Denver Broncos beat his former team, the New England Patriots, in 2009. And the Patriots aren't really what they used to be by any meeting between their former OC and the New England Patriots. Head coach Bill Belichick makes it for good theater, and this was definitely going to be a massive test for Daniels. Now we're going to move on a little bit to baseball, and let's talk about some MVP frontrunners. And right now it's Mike Trout, who's probably the leader headed into the second month with some of the best MVP odds. The 30-year-old entered this past Wednesday, not in the starting lineup, but he still drew a pinch walk in the 10th inning, and he has an MLB leading 1183 OPS, which would be a career high. He also has 9 home runs, 19 RBIs, and a 2.6 WAR already per Baseball Reference over just 27 games. And Barry Bonds is starting to hit. He's really starting to hit Barry Bonds type of numbers. Up next at number 2 is probably Jose Ramirez. Now, Ramirez has come so close to winning an MVP on multiple occasions, and I think he is the most underrated player in the sport of baseball. And he's fresh off the inking a $141 million 7-year deal that's going to keep him through Cleveland for most of the 2020s. And he does have his sights set to get over the hump in 2022. Right now, J-Ram is hitting .297 with 7 bombs and an MLB leading 30 RBI and 996 OPS as the linchpin in a surprisingly potent Guardians offense. Up next is Aaron Judge. Now, he is a free agent after this season, and he bet on himself when he turned down a Yankees contract extension prior to opening day, and has likely no regrets as of right now. But just because he doesn't have any regrets doesn't mean that he isn't going to be, setting the Bronx on fire for the rest of the year. And just because he turned down a contract doesn't mean that he won't be doing it for the rest of his career. But I think that, I mean, the Bronx have one of the best records in baseball, and he's a massive reason why. Up next is Shohei Ohtani, and last year he was the unanimous MVP, and he continues to make his presence felt on a daily basis. The two-way superstar looks even better on the mound this year after posting a 2.78 ERA and an eye-popping 46-7 strikeout to walk ratio over 32 and a third innings, and he's chipped in on the other side on the other side of the ball with 6 homers, 6 doubles, and 5 steals, as well as 21 RBIs, while he has appeared in every game for the Halos. Vlad Jr. is also having a great year as well in the American League, but Guerrero's epic season was the only thing that stopped Vladimir Guerrero Jr. last year of winning that American League MVP. For the Golden State Warriors, I'm not worried about them at all, but they do kind of struggle at the free throw line. Now, the Warriors had the top 2 free throw shooters in the league, respectively, and during the regular season, but now they're led by Jordan Poole and Steph Curry, who shoot both 92% from the free throw line, and it's bleeding points to the foul line. And so far, it hasn't hurt Golden State, but they are currently on a just crazy clank fest off of the rims. And last Sunday's Game 1 nearly provided the same, as Klay Thompson, who shoots 90% from the free throw line, bricked a couple of free throws with 6.7 seconds left in the fourth quarter that could have extended the Warriors' lead from 1 point to 3. And Ja Morant couldn't convert the layup on Memphis' final possession to win the game, but the Warriors had to be equally concerned about 2 and 3 point baskets, and in that do-or-die situation added some extra stress. So the Warriors were just 13 of 20 from the foul line overall in 6 games. Curry has missed 11 free throws. He missed just 23 in 64 games during the year. And though it is reasonable to assume that he'll get things sorted out, Thompson may be a little hesitant after those 2 high-leverage mistakes, but maybe not. And that's nothing to say of Andrew Wiggins, who shot a career worst 63.4% from the free throw line last year and slipped to a ghastly 56.3% after the All-Star break. Now, don't be shocked at all if the Warriors have to consider, taking him, their best wing defender, off the floor in crunch time. His struggles have been that bad. And the postseason does not forgive squandered opportunities, and like we'll discuss shortly in talking about the Grizzlies, if the Warriors continue converting their playoff free throws at their current clip of 69.5%, the second lowest among teams still standing, they're going to pay for it. But in fairness, Thompson's dagger 3 gave the Warriors that lead in the first place. So I don't think that you really have to worry too much about Klay Thompson, but there's still some worry there. The Grizzlies up first. One already got away. Now, no nuanced strategic issue or obscure statistical or any obscure statistical categories are necessary for this one. The Memphis Grizzlies' biggest concerns is as simple as you could put it. They lost Game 1 at home to Golden State, and a team that didn't have Draymond Green as its defensive linchpin and primary facilitator for the second half. And that was a game where the Grizzlies had to win, and they should have won, but they didn't. Not only was Green's first controversial first half ejection an advantage, but the Grizzlies also took and made more threes than Golden State. Talk to you about was sort of the outlook on really the rest of the season as it sort of, relates to how you guys prepared to, the non-conference schedule and things like that. And then as well as, up next, you guys have really tough opponents that a lot of ranked matchups headed your way, basically.
Yeah. I think with 8 matches left in the Big Ten, which is even weird to say, it's a long year and also a really fast year. I feel like we're in a really good position. And obviously our destiny is in our hands. And I think that's the most exciting place to be, because if we control and we talk about a lot day by day and take care of each opponent, when we have the opportunity to play them, then we're going to win the Big Ten. And I think, I'm sure Nebraska's saying the same thing and Wisconsin's saying the same thing because we have matchups later in the year, scheduled. And um, it's just funny, but Nicole's coach at Penn State, her old coach, Russ Rose, who I respect greatly, said, when you're tied for first, all you have to do is win every match, which is like so simple and yet so daunting. But it's really, that's the name of the game. And, we have the mantra of, more is now and taking care of today and all those things. But we talked on Monday as a group of what does the outlook look like? I don't want to avoid looking far ahead because, some of us do, whether we want to or not. And we're going to talk about what that means, the pressure of trying to win every match and but how do we manage that but stay in the moment. And the conversation around it was just, how's everybody feeling? Like, we like where we're at, but where we're going, like that's a lot of pressure, but how do you manage it? And how could we focus in on each day and be great for each other? But I think it's having those conversations. And so, as we look ahead, we can't look past Friday night at Northwestern, which, they're a good team that presents different challenges than other teams in the league. And they're on a mission to make the tournament. Like, they're close. And if they have a marquee win, such as number 6 Ohio State, that certainly puts them in contention to make the tournament. And, I don't want them to do that, but good for them. Like I think that's a cool position for them to be in, battling to make the tournament after missing for years and years and years. And so, if we're looking ahead to, man, we want to make sure we beat Nebraska and get the edge on them. We're going to lose to Northwestern and Michigan State. And so, for us, I again, we keep going back to the day by day mentality. And when we're good and we're in that moment, we're really good. Like, the last couple of practices have been really good, high level volleyball, across the board. That's exciting because if we keep that mindset and stay in those reminders and just play day by day and contact by contact, we're going to control our destiny.
Yeah, I think that right now you guys are really able to put yourself in that position to control your own destiny. And at the beginning of the year, it looked sort of from the outside perspective that maybe while it is clear that your team really liked each other, that chemistry on the court was just slightly off, just a hair. And as you know, this as the Big Ten season has gone on, especially, that sort of is just gone. Can you maybe talk about like what that has been like to see like that chemistry sort of come together?
Yeah, and chemistry is probably a word that we use a lot. I feel like we had it. It was just we weren't playing well together, like in terms of everybody. And what's interesting is that we've only added 2 new faces to the starting lineup. Really, 3. That Jen was, more consistent on the left this year, but I think it wasn't a question of, you know, are we going to gel? It was just a matter of when are we going to put all the pieces together and be more in sync. I think Gabby said that yesterday in practice. Is like just the flow of everything. Like, everybody understands what they're going to do and their responsibilities and what their job is, and not doing too much, and really coming in and doing what you're supposed to do and taking care of your responsibilities. So I feel like the chemistry was there, but we're playing more in sync now, if that makes sense. Like, I would
Definitely, yeah.
use that word a little bit more. Because we know what Kylie's gonna do. We know what Sarah Sue's gonna do, what they're capable of. We don't need to do anything outside of that. They're not their comfort zone, but out of their expectations. And when they do, man, that's a bonus. I look at that point against Penn State when it's 15-15. Kylie Murr makes a big time dig on Cash Williams. That's kind of expected. But in that moment, like in a pressure moment like that, you can certainly understand. Like, she made a big time swing that could go down for a kill in any match. But then Kylie steps in and digs that ball, and it's like, okay. And then they get the ball back, and Cash takes this big time swing again, and then Sarah Sue digs her perfect. And it's just like, I think everybody's capable of doing that, but then seeing it translate into big moments like that, that's where the instinct comes to play and the trust is built even further so that we get in that situation again. Yeah, we know we can do it. So I think it's the experience, the confidence, and really just the trust that this team has that has put us in the position we are, but is going to allow us to continue even further.
Yeah, and with the season coming to an end, and you mentioned Kylie Murr, who is very close to number one on the all-time digs list. So, would you like maybe it's and you also have players like Gabby, who is a double machine. Like
Yeah.
she's doing everything defensively too. So obviously the defense translates to good offense, but what is it like? How relaxing is it to you when you see a ball come back and you know that you maybe have probably two of the best defenders in the Big Ten back or ready to get the ball?
I mean, that's a huge part of any championship team is really the defense behind it. I think that's what Nebraska's hung their hat on for a long time is just how good defensively they are and keeping the ball in play so that their defense has even more chances. I think what works for us is when our defense, their mentality is so strong and picking up balls that it translates into our offense. It just fuels them. And so to have players like Kylie and she knows she needs to be great, but she's when she's playing great, the rest of the team it's like a sigh of relief. Like, oh, we got this. Like she's our fuel and she's our fire and she's going strong. And not that everybody like takes like relaxes. It just it fuels them more. And we work harder when she's in that mentality. And I think that's a big testament to her that she's really been consistent in that area that she's worked hard on it and she knows how important she is to the success of this team, and she's not making it a burden this year. She's embraced it and really taken off and knows that she when she's playing like that, she's not only she great, but she makes us great.
Also, I feel really small like this with no sleeves on with
go
Pow
up
and
again with
Ubon.
your shoulders. Yeah, now you
Oh, dude, I got some
look
traps.
like Kevin Nash, dude.
Hey,
Hold on though, Paddy, what's going on down there, brother?
I'm so glad you did this. Thank you.
oh,
Patty-
I love this.
Paddy
you're not
had
supposed
a-
to call me
a
out.
little
This is just
change.
supposed to be a gag for us. And then
Oh,
like,
man.
and then just next promo, I'm just in a different thing.
I fucking
Dude,
love it.
The headband, the one earring, the sunglasses, all of it. Patty, you need. It's like I
Heartbreak
don't.
Kid.
It's crazy because I love the hat too. So it's like I don't know which like you.
Nah,
You got something
can't-
going for you.
Game over.
Yeah.
That's fashion right there, dude.
If you want me to go bandana with you, Patty, just let me know. I'm feeling kind of left out.
You feel left out. You're
Yeah,
getting
the
FOMO?
spotlight's not on me.